Hello and welcome everybody. Welcome to the Gold and Silver Club end of week review. Today is going to be the non-farm payroll special. We have lots to cover on today's session. So it's presented by myself, Bill Carr, and Nick Kalsi at the Gold and Silver Club. Today we will be reviewing the latest developments in the commodities markets and analysing the week's performance. So this live session this morning, it will cover an end of week summary for gold, silver, oil and the commodity currencies. We'll be looking at the top trades of the week, live market commentary and technical analysis, the week ahead, so key events looking forward and especially looking forward to today's non-farm payroll announcement, and of course we'll be answering any of the questions you might have today as well. Okay, so gold this week, we've seen some phenomenal moves. It's just been a great day traders market this week for gold, both with the FOMC announcement and the non-farm payroll announcement, which is coming up today at 1:30. We've seen a real whipsaw in price, which has been provided some really nice day trade setups, which we'll talk through in our top trades of the week very shortly. Before we do that, let's have a look at the fundamentals. So we'll have a look at what non-farm payroll expectations there are today, and we'll look at the major news and what impacts we expect that to have on the market. Okay, so gold prices ease ahead of US non-farm payroll report. So at the moment, gold hovering around 1288 this morning, broke through the 1300 level just this morning. Today we will get the first look at how the US labour market is progressing in the second half of 2013 with the release of July jobs report today. So that's going to be at 1:30 p.m. GMT or 8:30 a.m. EST. Today's non-farm payroll report will be very notable, and that is for two reasons. Number one, many traders in the institutions view the second half of 2013, so that starts in July, as something of a moment of truth for the US economy. So it will be important to see what the all-important non-farm payroll report has to say about the sort of second half start the labour market is getting off to. Number two, because the July jobs report proximity to the September FOMC meeting, upon which major institutions expect the Federal Reserve to announce a reduction in the pace of monthly bond purchasing, which it makes under its quantitative easing program. So if the numbers come in better than expected today, the markets could be in for a very volatile and highly profitable trading day. We will see the US dollar index spike. We're at a very important level at the moment on the US dollar index, which I'll show you very shortly on my platform. And we could certainly see a lot of, we're going to see a lot of price action today, either to the upside or the downside in gold, in silver, the commodity currencies and oil. We'll be talking you through that very shortly. So earlier this week, ADP's monthly employment report estimated that 200,000 private payrolls were created in the American economy in July, and that number beat the consensus estimate of 180,000 and represented a slight increase from June's upward revised 198,000. So will non-farm payroll figures follow suit today? So we don't have too long to wait. It's about 2.5 hours now till non-farm payroll. So let's have a look at our top trades of the week, and then we'll talk about the chart. So before we do that, just a little bit of information about myself and Nick. I'm Phil Carr, professional trader, trainer and speaker. I'm the co-founder and director of the Gold and Silver Club. I specialise in teaching people how to make money from trading the most lucrative financial markets in the world, so gold, silver, oil and the commodity currencies. I've trained thousands of individuals to become independent traders and successfully manage their own investment portfolio. I'm responsible for the research and development of the Gold and Silver Club trademark strategies that have a proven track record of generating returns for traders. Also, regular contributor to a number of financial publications and speak at numerous worldwide seminars, webinars and workshops. Joining me on the call is Nick Kalsi, professional trader, investment analyst and speaker. Now, Nick began his career within private wealth management in 2002 before he made the transition into proprietary trading. And prior to co-founding the Gold and Silver Club, he spent over 5 years coaching professional fund managers and traders internationally for some of the world's top-tier hedge funds and investment banks. Through his first-hand relationship with some of the world's most successful traders, Nick discovered the formula, mindset and tools that give any individual the definitive edge to trade in any economy. Also regularly writes for a number of global business and financial publications, and we both appeared frequently on financial television. And so guys, what we're going to have a look at now, it's a little bit about myself and Nick, for those of you who are new to joining us. And we're going to look across to the gold price at the moment. So the gold spot price right now, $1,288 an ounce. So yeah, markedly down from this time last week. So we'll be looking at that very shortly. So let's go have a look now at the US dollar index. US dollar index is important because of the inverse correlation it has to a lot of other markets, and particularly the inverse correlation it has to gold. So we can see we had a huge surge to the upside yesterday, which has resulted in USDCAD spiking. We've seen gold sell off, silver sell off, Australian US dollar sell off, New Zealand US dollar sell off, and we've seen a big spike to the upside with Brent crude oil and WTI. And now, what we're seeing at the moment is there's this like doji on the daily time frame, just below key moving average. And what we're seeing is some indecision in the market now. We did bounce off a key level of support, a 200-day moving average last week, which didn't manage to get penetrated. That was an important level for the US dollar index to hold. If it breached that level, we would have seen gold spike up much further. So at the moment, we're definitely awaiting further data. You know, the markets are getting very quiet ahead of non-farm payroll. So certainly a lot of traders are anticipating the move now. So a lot of traders probably out of positions and getting ready to re-enter positions prior to or just before or just after non-farm payroll. So we'll talk about that a little bit further in the charts. I'll show you what my Reuters platform is showing in terms of correlations this morning as well. So let's go across to the top trades of the week, how we're taking advantage of the moves over the last week. Okay, so top trades of the week using the Gold and Silver Club signature trading strategies. Number one, this is Australian dollar, US dollar. This was actually highlighted. We were looking at this on last Fridays on our weekly roundup, and we were looking at Australian US dollar. It would just hit that level of resistance. It was the fourth time that it bounced off that level of resistance, very key level. It didn't manage to penetrate. We did see a reversal. If you didn't catch the first reversal, it fully retraced again, allowing you to get in, another opportunity to get in. Then we had a really nice setup in order to short. We just got in at 0.9266. In fact, we came all the way down to support. So very pleased with that. Nice 6-to-1 swing trade. And that delivered over, actually, if you managed to stay in a little bit longer, we eventually broke support yesterday and came down a little bit further, but we're very happy with the 6-to-1 on that. Risk was 37 pips, so $370 risk for 224 pips reward, $2,240 profit for a 6-to-1 Australian US dollar. Next, New Zealand US dollar also triggered last week. There's that resistance, got a lot of tests on that resistance. We're just in a 4-hour time frame there, so you can see consecutively we had about 6-7 tests of that resistance, just couldn't penetrate it. Entered at 0.8081, nice tight risk on that to reward, and we just traded that back down to the bottom of that trend channel for 114 pips, so $290 risk on each lot, traded for $1,140 profit for a 4-to-1 on New Zealand US dollar. And gold, so the FOMC statement on gold, this was a really nice trade. We saw gold was just hovering around the 1307 level just prior to non-farm payroll. Sorry, not non-farm payroll, FOMC statement. So this was GMT. This was in the evening, 7 o'clock London time on Wednesday. We always trade these FOMC announcements. They always offer a lot of volatility for the gold silver markets, often very predictable. So we found ourselves at this key level around 1307, key Fibonacci level as well. Price was supported there, also supported by the lower trend line. We had a tweeter set up. We entered that for a nice quick day trade, just got out at our profit target just below 1333 at 1331, and that was a nice 210 point day trade, 50 point risk on that. So for each lot traded $500 risk for 210 points, so 2,100 US dollars of profit for a 4-to-1 on gold on that FOMC announcement. And USD Canadian dollar, just before the FOMC announcement, gave us a nice setup at resistance on just prior to FOMC on Wednesday. That was just entering. Again, this is just a really quick day trade, very simple setup. We could see what was going to happen here. So if we continue to come down, just going to come down and retest the Fibonacci. So that was a 25 pip reward, risk on that trade. So $250 risk for $490 profit. For a 2-to-1 on USDCAD, just a nice setup on the at resistance, came down very quick in and out in about 2 hours on that. And then gold, this is just this morning. So, we had a nice, pending order set on gold this morning. We could see last night gold was just hovering, right, around about 1302 level. This was, just, after the close of, the New York market, and we could see gold hovering around the 1300s. So it wasn't going to stay there for long. We were expecting either a breakdown in price or potential recovery. But we had a nice pending order set there. Took advantage of the breaks. That was a very important previous resistance. We took about 2 weeks to break 1300 previously. So we could pretty much vouch that if 1300 was broken on the downside, stop losses will get triggered and we get a nice move to the downside. So that was just a quick day trade this morning. We've come down to 1284. We bounced off 1283 key price action level, and you can see where we've just been able to take 160 points profit this morning, 40 pip risk. So $400 risk there for $1,600 profit for a nice 4-to-1 just this morning on gold. And now we're getting all set and ready for non-farm payroll this afternoon. So with that, we're going to move across to my chart very shortly, and we will answer any questions you may have. So what we'll do, guys, we'll go through some analysis. We'll go through my Reuters platform first, and then we'll go through the live charts, and then we'll answer any of your questions. Okay, so keep your questions coming in the chat there. See a few questions coming through at the moment, and we'll answer those very shortly. Okay, after we've gone through some analysis of the market. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to switch screens here so you can see what is going on this morning. Okay, this should be ready for you very shortly. Okay, good. So this is just the Gold and Silver Club custom-built Reuters news trading platform. So what we've got here at the moment just gives me a quick snapshot. I can see everything, all the major movers and shakers of the day. So immediately we got red across the board for for gold, silver, Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, Brent crude, WTI crude, and we're seeing Canadian dollar and also the US dollar index there are showing some strength this morning. So what we want to note this morning is just on the bottom right here is the US dollar index, and you can see there where we just held on to that key moving average. That's the 200-day moving average. We just held on to that key moving average this week. Several bounces off that level, tested it on the FOMC, didn't break it, and so that was when we had a big spike. So essentially the FOMC statement came out saying for the time being they're going to continue with the bond buying program. Nothing was going to change, but that will be revisited again at September FOMC meeting. So we did see a big move to the downside in US dollar index and a big spike up on gold and silver. Okay, so with that, we've also seen a nice strong move to the upside since then in anticipation of some of the ADP figures that came out this week in anticipation for non-farm payrolls. That's where you're getting the spike upwards in US dollar index. And you're going to see weakness across other currencies as well. Euro USD showing weakness, pound dollar showing weakness, any other currency paired against the US dollar. So we've got this little doji at the moment, which is showing indecision in the market right now. I'm just going to very quickly also go across to my my forecasting. So you can see here, I'm just going to quickly, so this is the major banks like BNP Paribas, Goldman Sachs, and we've got the median predictions here and the mean predictions of over 100 major banks. So just going to quickly take a look at that for the commodity currency. So you can see here, for example, New Zealand US dollar, most of the major banks are quite bearish still. New Zealand US dollar, they're expecting consolidation sideways, and also more bearish momentum on that. So that is definitely noteworthy, and that's been in line really with what's happened over the course of this week. We're still seeing further weakness with New Zealand US dollar. Just going to move across to Australian US dollar. And Australian US dollar, most of the major banks in agreement that we're still very much in a downtrend. We're actually reached 2013 lows. We're at 3-year lows now on the Australian dollar, US dollar, and we're going to see probably more consolidation or more weakness in Australian US dollar over the course of August as well. Certainly that's what the banks are predicting, but we will just trade that based on fundamentals and technicals. This just helps us to further gauge what is going on with the markets. And finally, we'll just move across and we will also have a look. Let's just go across to, bear with me. Yeah, we'll go across and we'll just have a look at our USD Canadian dollar. and USD Canadian dollar. We've had a really nice spike to the upside today. So you can see there where we've been in an uptrend on USD Canadian dollar for most of the year. We actually, very clear uptrend here, you can actually see on the chart. But most of the major banks are also predicting a bit of a retracement. So this, we'll see if we're going to get a sell-off later on this afternoon on USDCAD. But, so that's, some bank forecasting, and we've got our, news coming out here. So with that, we're going to move across, to the main charts now, and we'll just go over some technical analysis. Okay, great. So look, we're looking at gold now, and right. So what we want to note on gold. Okay, so this has been pretty textbook. We've broken through a key level here, 1307, broke through 1300 this morning, came and found support at $1,284 an ounce thereabouts. So that's been very straightforward in terms of key levels. We've profited from both, the support we found at 1307 and this trend line on the FOMC. We profited this morning on the breakdown in price. So where's gold going to go to next? Okay, so in terms of next key levels, we'll just give you a couple of the key levels we're going to be certainly looking at today. So if 1283 breaks today, let's say the US dollar, the news coming out is very positive for the US economy. We will see the gold just drop further, and we'll see a breakdown. So key levels to look at will be 1276. If we break below that, 1260. And those are going to be the short-term key levels we will be looking at, where you're likely to find some levels of support if the market continues to break down, and those might provide shorting opportunities from a break of 1284 down to those key levels, 1276, 1263, we'll see. And if we get very negative news coming out of the US, we could see this 1283 level hold, and we could see a bounce back to 1300 and back up to 1307 and back within this trend channel. So we'll just put it on to the 4-hour time frame. And you can see on the 4-hour time frame, same as the US dollar index, lots of indecision here. So really, I'm very interested to see which way we're going to break today. Are we going to break below today's support level, 1284, or are we going to break above? We're going to come above 1290 and come back into the 1300. So this is all very much dependent on the fundamentals today and what non-farm payroll does. Very tradable. So those are the key levels we're going to be looking at for gold. Next of all, I want to go to oil, because oil is looking very interesting this morning as well. It's the same situation. We've got a nice big doji on Brent oil. That's a gravestone doji, actually, as it's better known. So this is just a very much indecision in the market. Market has rallied up to a new high here, which is 110.08, and then it's just found the buyers, or the people have got a bit scared out of the market at that particular price, and the sellers have shot the price down again. And we've got indecision where we are right now. We're at 109.43. So again, are we going to find all of it's going to be down to the US data this afternoon? So are we going to see a breakdown of this particular candlestick? Are we going to break below 109.13 and come back to previous levels of support here at 108.43? Or are we going to get a breakout towards the 111 level? 110 is actually a level we've been looking at for quite some time now. We've been discussing that on previous webinars as well. So it's interesting that we did manage to hit 110 just yesterday. So that was a key profit target for a lot of oil traders. So that was quite an important level. So you can see a lot of traders taking profit at that level. The overall momentum is up on Brent crude at the moment. All key moving averages pointing to the upside. But having said that, for counter trend trades, if you're day trading, you can be in and out of these trades quickly. There are certainly a lot of pips to be had just day trading these markets as well, as we've done so with Brent and WTI this month in July. So similar situation really with WTI, but WTI has actually found resistance at the previous resistance, more or less with pinpoint accuracy there. So at 108, just below 108.90, you can see this inverse hammer which is formed. Some of you might know that as a shooting star that we've got just at that key level of resistance. So again, we would be very interested to see what the potential is. You can see if that does have a big sell-off today, there's a lot of potential for good downside move there for risk to reward point of view. But you need to be very aware of what's going on with regard to the fundamentals in order to trade this WTI. But yeah, we're at a key level of resistance. So there's lots of potential. There's lots to look at today. There's going to be a lot of different setups which we can see, which could working out this afternoon. So we'll be keeping an eye on WTI as well. USD Canadian dollar, you can see here, just come and tested that, just couldn't penetrate it. We've got some key price action levels here, 1.02530. These have been profit targets for our shorts. You can see here we're looking at a break of this level over the FOMC statement, which didn't really occur, didn't follow through to actually come down to test the next key price level. So we are actually getting a big retracement at the moment. In terms of upside momentum, we could, if the US data this afternoon is very positive for the US dollar index, and the US dollar, the payroll data, we will see the price potentially spike up to 1.04147 and possibly even 1.0444. If we get very negative news, we could just see a move back towards this support at 1.0265. So we'll be looking at that closely today for US dollar, Canadian dollar. Australian US dollar, Australian US dollar really looking really weak at the moment. It's at 3-year lows at the moment. There's no real reason to be getting in at this. We are actually, let's just have a look. And we'll just go into tighter time frames there. Australian US dollar really looking very weak at the moment. It's not at any key levels of support where it is right now. We'd be very interested in continuing. We've taken some really nice sell shorts from this as it's coming back and retraced from this key resistance level around 1.09292. But for me, Australian US dollar isn't the market to be looking at this morning. We might get a reversal today if the numbers are bad from the US. We could get a nice move to the upside, but there's not any real key levels to be trading that from. New Zealand US dollar, probably more lucrative. We are coming to some key levels this morning. We're finding some support just above 0.7844 price action level at the moment. We will be monitoring this one quite closely, New Zealand US dollar as well. So you can see we're coming to some key levels of support. So let's just draw very quickly. You can see levels of support here going back to July. It's a key kind of price action level as well, 0.7844. So we'll see if that is if that holds, in which case we could see a reversal, or if that breaks. So if it breaks, we could just see the next level at 0.7783 visited. And then finally, we're going to go on that. By the way, this is the key level of resistance that we just shorted from last week. We discussed. And next is silver. So I know one of our traders on the call today, Lalit, you got a 7-1 on silver, following some of our precision strategies just yesterday. So well done to Lalit Sharma, who's on our live trading room. And we've seen just a nice move to the downside today. You can see we've broken through some key levels of support. We were looking at a resolution of this. So you had this downward trending channel, this upward trending channel, and we did break through it just yesterday. You can see on the daily time frame, really silver's looking really weak. Silver could have more downside, some key moving averages. It's below all of its key moving averages now. So silver very much looking weak this morning. So if it continues to come down, we're going to be looking at key levels are going to be, you've got several actually, 1911, 1893 and 1876. And beyond that, we could just see the lows revisited at 18.18. So if we do get a reversal today and we see silver supported this afternoon, yes, we could get a reversal back to around the 19.68 level. So we'll be watching that closely as well. So just to recap before I go on to your question, so you can see we've got quite a lot to be looking at. So for us, the major ones to be looking at this morning are going to be gold, Brent, WTI, USDCAD, New Zealand US dollar. Those are probably our real ones to watch. And then after that, silver and Australian US dollar. But those are our four kind of top ones to watch today. Okay, great. So before we go on to additional news coming up, I'm just going to go through some of your questions. So bear with me. I just need to read these questions and then we can go through those. It's not taken for granted, even if the data which comes out of the US, for example, is positive for the US economy. It might have already been priced into the market, okay? So because we had a huge move yesterday, and that's what you want to watch out for. So if you see the news coming out of the US is really positive, and you see the US dollar index starts to fall, or it just doesn't move, and it starts to drop, you don't want to trade just purely based on the news. That's what gamblers do, and you don't trade purely based on fundamentals. You want to trade with the technicals lining up with your fundamentals. So the US dollar index, we're going to be watching this closely. If it spikes up, yes, we're going to expect gold and silver to go down. And if it spikes down, we're going to expect gold and silver to go up. So that's the inverse correlation there with the US dollar index. But don't just trade the news blindly. We're talking about technicals today. We talk about our live trading room as well, how you can get involved in that very shortly as well. Okay, excellent. So if there are any more questions, do let us know. So with that, what we'll go across to the major news for today and over the next week now. Okay, so the major news you want to be looking at over, of course, today and over the next week. So first of all, key events looking forward. So today we've got US non-farm payrolls. That's going to be at 1:30. As you all know, in 2 hours' time, we're going to be looking at US non-farm payrolls. So the non-farm payroll report, that measures the changes in the number of people employed during the previous month. So it excludes the farming industry. Job creation is the foremost indicator of consumer spending, which accounts for the majority of economic activity in the US. Higher than expected readings should be taken as bullish for the US dollar, while a lower than expected reading should be taken as bearish for the US dollar. So that's going to be an important announcement today. At 3 o'clock today, this afternoon, we've also got US dollar ISM non-manufacturing index. That index rates the relative level of business conditions, including employment, production, new orders, prices, suppliers, deliveries, and inventories. So that data is compiled from a survey of approximately 400 purchasing managers in the non-manufacturing sector. So a level above 50 indicates expansion, below indicates contraction. Higher than expected readings should be taken as bullish for the US dollar, while a lower than expected reading should be taken as bearish for the US dollar. Then moving on to next Tuesday, at 3 p.m, we have the Australian interest rate decision, and that is the Reserve Bank of Australia board members come to a consensus on where to set the rate. So traders watch interest rate changes closely, as short-term interest rates are the primary factor in currency valuation. So a higher than expected rate is bullish for the Australian dollar, while a lower than expected rate is bearish for the Australian dollar. So next Tuesday at 3 p.m, that will definitely affect all of your Australian US dollar trades. Next Wednesday at 3:30 p.m, we have the crude oil inventory. So this data reports the number of barrels of crude oil commercial firms have in inventory. So commercial firms report their inventory levels to the Energy Information Administration. That's very important for those of you who are trading WTI, and Brent crude oil. So commercial firms report their inventory levels to the Energy Information Administration on a weekly basis. A higher than expected reading should be taken as bearish for crude oil, while a lower than expected reading should be taken as bullish. Next Thursday, the 8th of August at 2:30 a.m, we have the Australian employment change. Now that measures the change in the number of people employed. So job creation is an important indicator of consumer spending. Higher than expected reading should be taken as bullish for the Australian dollar, and while a lower than expected reading should be taken as bearish. And again, that's important because Australian dollar is correlated with gold. So as you can see, sell off on gold today, sell off on gold on Australia, sell off on Australian dollar. And finally, next Friday at 1:30 for those trading Canadian dollar USDCAD, you've got the CAD employment change, and that measures the change in the number of people employed. So job creation is an important indicator of consumer spending. Higher than expected readings should be taken as bullish for the CAD, while a lower than expected reading should be taken as bearish for the CAD. And that's important because the CAD is also inversely correlated to gold and also correlated to oil prices. So you're seeing today a spike to the upside in crude oil, yesterday in crude oil, WTI, the same in USDCAD. So all these markets are very correlated. And to really learn more about how to trade those using our precision day trading system, our next live trading room is going to be next Tuesday at 9 p.m. So that's going to be our next live trading room where we'll be going through trades live. You can actually get additional information on that on our live trading room program, just going to www.jointhegoldandsilverclub.com. That is exclusive to all our Gold and Silver Club members, our traders, and you get access to our private forums. And you can contact us either at our London office or our New York office to find more information about that. So you can contact us at 0207 193 0403 or our New York office on +1 646 808 0403. Or of course you can email us at office@thegoldandsilverclub.com. And so here it is just on our website to complete the form to request additional information. And of course, make sure you subscribe to our newsletter at thegoldandsilverclub.com to receive our free weekly gold, silver, oil and commodity currency news, live market analysis and of course prices. Okay, excellent guys. So with that, as we come towards the end of the webinar there, we certainly wish you all good luck for the rest of the day's trading. Do get in touch if you would like to get any additional information on our live trading room. And we will certainly see you back here at the same time next week at 11:30 or next Tuesday at 9 o'clock on our live trading room. Okay, take care guys, and have a very profitable day's trading. Cheers and bye-bye.